Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is August 28th, Thursday, and this is episode number 310. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
Going great, Rod. Been a lot going on this week. Very busy. A lot of movement. So plenty to talk about tonight.
Absolutely. To help us out and to catch up a bit and to talk some Browns is our friend Redleg. Follow him on X at RedlegGI. Hey Redleg, how are you? How are you? It's been a minute.
Been good, man. Been good. It's definitely been a minute. I'm looking forward to talking, and yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. Definitely. So this is where we usually start with Blitz beverages. We're going to skip that tonight, just because we got enough to talk about, and then we go to Browns news. Well, guys, pretty much everything's Browns news right now. So
Yeah.
let's see. I think we'll just kind of start out with with some of the moves the Browns have made and getting to the 53, and then we'll kind of look at the 53 and some other stuff. So
We could eat up an hour just going over the moves.
No, man. Yeah.
yeah, I guess leading up to, and if I mess anything up chronologically, I don't think anybody's really going to care, are they here? I mean, a lot of this stuff happened pretty quickly.
That's
So
okay.
So the Browns trade Kenny Pickett to Vegas for a fifth rounder in 26. Were you guys surprised by that move? I mean, there was so much, so many people talking about the fact that the Browns were going to carry four QBs. Did this catch you guys off guard, or were you expecting it to happen? What do you think, Redleg?
The Pickett move, not really. I think the main reason why is him being injured, not being able to show much during the preseason. I really think it's probably one of the only reasons why. I think the Browns had no intention of trading or getting rid of Shedeur or Gabriel because they're the clear, kind of future. Pickett is he's turning a journeyman, so not super surprised.
Yeah. Jeff, I mean, you were pretty on board with the four QBs, and I thought it was pretty sound reasoning.
Yeah.
Did this catch you off guard? And what do you think of the compensation of fifth rounder?
It did catch me off guard a little bit. The timing of it. I just figured, they're going to hold on to him because his value is about as low as it could be, and
Felt like it. Yeah.
let it stew for a few more weeks and see who else needed a backup quarterback, and maybe there'd be a little bit more to gain. But I mean, I understand the value of every place on the 53-man roster. So when the Raiders approached and AB could basically just get a wash out of the deal, I guess it made sense. The fifth round pick, it is what it is. You didn't really lose anything to take a look at Kenny Pickett for a little while, and circumstances just kind of, like Redleg said, played into him really not having much of an impact. I mean, he's probably the least effective Cleveland athlete since Andrew Bogut. I mean, we didn't get much out of him. So, all right, we'll move on. I just think it's interesting that he was plan A, and then he ended up being an afterthought after the draft.
Yeah. What do you guys think the value of Kenny Pickett really was? And I don't want to go down this road too far, but I heard the comments by Aditi Kinkawala on a Pittsburgh station, talking about how there are other coaches who would think that Pickett's better than some starters in the league and all this stuff. I mean, where did this come from? And do you guys even buy that? I mean,
well, you heard it on a Pittsburgh station, Rod, so I'm going to say that's probably where it came from. But they gave up on him a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like she was pandering, and I don't want to, knock her at all, but kind of sounded like she was pandering to Pittsburgh a little bit on that. Not saying she's not telling the truth, but it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, for Pickett, I think that what Steelers fans don't realize is their team's rebuilding. They're not used to this. They've been melting down like since Big Ben left. They're squeaking through games. And I think the Browns were like, look, Pickett's been through their system. Yeah, maybe he's not good there. Makes the team, whatever. Goes to the Eagles, wins the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, he's the backup. But they probably give him a chance because, hey, he looks good in their system. Maybe he's all right. But then you get injured. You can't play much. It's just, maybe taking a flyer on him and hoping for the best. Maybe it's just the system he was in. So,
yeah. So the Browns then traded for KT Leviston with the Rams, and they gave up about as little as you could possibly give up, a 7th rounder in 2028. I mean, you guys know the Jimmy Johnson scale of points, when you're looking at trades. What's that worth, Jeff? Like 100th of a point, maybe?
It's not much. Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Yeah.
So not much to lose on this pickup, and it was definitely a position of need. So I don't know if you guys know anything about this guy. I'll be honest, I don't, other than the fact that he was a low round pick, and I think he was hurt last year, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it seemed like a solid roll of the dice.
I think the Cornelius Lucas injury probably put a little bit more urgency on going and finding someone with at least a little bit of NFL experience, and Levinson has a little tiny bit. If Lucas had been healthy, then they probably would have been fine going into the season with just the 3 tackles, at least to start. But I don't know. You still got to hope that there's a better option out there somewhere at tackle than what we're looking at this season. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I mean, the line is going to need some help next year at least. I mean, you can hope for good health this season, but it's there are going to be some guys who aren't here next year, and so it's going to be a position they're going to have to address more. We know this.
Right.
So so let's get to the 53 guys. The cut downs. I'd say surprises. I don't know if there were really any surprises. There were some spots that we knew could go one way or another, and some spots that probably went contrary to the way the Browns usually go. So I'll just let you guys go and give your thoughts as far as how it went down, and if anything caught you off guard. Anybody made the team you weren't expecting to make the team, and anybody who's not here who you thought was going to be here. So Jeff, we'll let you kick that one off.
The 2 guys that I didn't see making the initial 53, Dom Jones and Brendan Bates, turns out they were released the next day and then re-signed to the practice squad. So I can't say that there were any real huge surprises. The 2 that I thought probably would make the roster that didn't were Nick Needham and Tony Brown. You and I talked quite a bit about Nick Needham, Rod. I thought the versatility there and the veteran experience, he looked pretty good in preseason. So I thought he was pretty much a shoe-in. I guess they liked other guys better. And then Tony Brown's just for the special teams component, awful lot of young guys on this team, and I don't know how many of them have special teams experience on their resume. So to not keep a special teams guy like that was a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, for otherwise, I pretty much think that it went the way we expected it to in most of the rooms. I love the 2 guys that they picked up after they let those 2 guys go, particularly Rocket Sanders. I love Rocket Sanders. I've been extolling him for the last 3 years probably as an exciting big back. So we get a free look at him basically. As long as Quinshon Judkins is out, we're going to get a free look at Rocket Sanders. So that could be exciting.
Yeah. So So Red Leg, I'll go to you in just a moment on
Yeah, of
your
course.
thoughts on the draft. But since we brought up Rocket Sanders, let's just talk about him a little bit, guys. Um, so he's a guy who did very well in the preseason. Um, a guy who was a very tough cut for the Chargers. So how do you see him fitting in with the Browns, Jeff? You know, with the other two backs, how do you
Well,
see the carries unfolding there?
yeah, he's the power back, right? I mean, he's 6 foot 240, something like that. I mean, he's heavily muscled dude. So he's going to be in the Judkins role. When the Browns want a power run. So I mean, I hope they can get him up to speed and give him plenty of touches. I don't know what to see. He's, young guy. You got basically three rookie running backs on this team when Judkins comes in.
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting. I think, there's going to be rookie mistakes. But I hope they give him a fair shake and he could be a guy that could develop into something pretty special.
Yeah. So Red Leg, you have your choice here. You can go to you can talk about Rocket Sanders first, or if you want, you can go back and talk about your thoughts on the 53.
Yeah, let's tackle the running back position first. I think, when Watson came in, the Browns shifted from kind of a, not run heavy, but more like say 40-60. Now they're down like say 70-30, right? It's going to be interesting to see if the Browns decide to go back to that 60-40 mix again, like when you had Chubb and Hunt running through. They were such a duo.
Yeah.
If they're changing gears going back that'd be great. They got to find that correct duo. Which is a lead kind of into the roster. Pierre Strong being cut, I was kind of surprised by. He's familiar with the system. He's been in the system. He's run it. Now his preseason game it just wasn't there. It wasn't good. He wasn't in very often. Clearly, they had more talent, or what they thought was more talented. Not saying I'm a fan per se, but seeing a guy who just really knows the system kind of gone is that's kind of surprised. A guy who was didn't make initial was Sam Cannella or Sal Cannella, pardon me. And then I saw that they picked him back up on the practice squad. But at the game on Saturday, watching him run around and do his routes and what he's working for, you're not seeing a lot of him on the highlight reels, but he's doing the work that who those guys? Oh my God. I can't think of someone specific, but the guys who are on the field doing work that you don't see they're not putting stats. Like a guy like Joel Bitonio, right? There's no stats of Joel Bitonio per se, but they're on the field. They're doing
the
their
lunch
job.
pail. You're talking like the lunch pail guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're out there doing work. So, as far as other surprises, though, I was really Hopkins was kind of a surprise, but at the same time, I think they've lost faith, and there's something there that they see coming too. He was our savior. He was our bane. He was everywhere in a preseason where there's literally no pressure. So I understand why. But we get Sismic in there and see how he does. So, but that's kind of my thoughts, guys. Not super specific. No one really kind of star-studded there, but kind of my little thoughts there.
Rod, we should just interject real quick. I just want to, for clarity, Pierre Strong was released with an injury designation because of a concussion. So fans may be wondering why. I mean, he just wasn't going to be available, so they had to go that route because of an injury.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Otherwise, I think he might have made the 53. Right, like.
Gotcha. Sure.
Yeah, I think so. I thought he did enough to stay on as the third running back. Whether he would have, whether they would have kept him, over, Sanders or not, I don't know. But
sure.
But yeah, thought so. So So let's see. Let's go to talk about 53. I don't really have anything that you guys didn't hit on that 53. So the Browns make their cuts. They pick up Raheem Sanders and they pick up Jarek Bernard Converse. Is that right, Jeff? Cornerback. I don't know anything about.
Jarek Bernard Converse.
All I know is he's a smart guy from the Jets. I didn't have a chance really to do much research on him, so
Right.
just being honest, don't know much. You guys have any thoughts on him other than he's the kind of guy that Andrew Berry rolls the dice on.
Yeah.
High draft picks are very athletic guys, and we'll talk more about it. But I mean, the Browns are going young now, and why not bring in a guy like this that has a lot of physical gifts and upside, and see what happens. I think that's all they're doing with him.
Right.
It seems like this year the Browns actually picked up quite a few undrafted free agents making the team. Is that? I mean, in recent years, is that right? I mean, is that the most we've had?
Yeah.
Because it was a lot.
Ever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of celebrated those guys over the years, Jeff, and it's been one or two guys, a season. And I don't know, what's it been about? Maybe one guy typically each year.
I mean, you had Diabate and Hickman a couple of years ago. Before that, it was really sporadic for a guy to make the final or even the first 53 as a UDFA.
Right.
And I think that whole process has just evolved over the last few years to where guys that get heavily if evaluated in the draft that fall out of the draft for one reason or another, teams are following them. And I think Andrew Berry's probably a little bit ahead of the curve on that in terms of the priority UDFAs and giving guys money to come in. But yeah, I told you this week, Rod, I'm not sure how I feel about that many UDFAs making the roster. I mean, you could make the case that, good for us that we're finding talent that way, right? It's another route that you're finding talent for your roster. And when you look at a guy like Aiden Huntington, you go, how did that guy not get drafted, right?
Yeah.
He just didn't have the right measurables, right? But
right.
He's got everything else going for him. But so from that perspective, I'm like, yeah, that's great that these guys are making the roster. But then I'm also looking at it like, okay, on our 53-man roster, we've got 7 rookies and 6 or 8 UDFAs, and I'm thinking, last year we were saying we didn't think that 6 draft picks would make the roster. Now we've got 15 guys in their first year. So it makes me a little nervous about the quality of the roster. There's really not a lot of experience there. I did a little bit of looking at over the cap, and 53 of the 53, 33 of the 53 are below $2 million in cap hit. So yeah, that's a huge number of guys that are on really cheap deals. And I think that's just a function of the Watson contract.
Yeah.
The fact that we're having to eat that now, and we've got to go out and be a little bit more prudent with our money. And the way to do that is to find young guys, right, that can contribute. So
absolutely,
it's definitely going to be a young squad this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you actually look at those UDFAs, though, I think you feel pretty good if you go through the names, though, of who those guys are and what you saw of them. I don't feel like those guys really feel like a reach over the draft picks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, right? I'm looking at some of the UDFAs I've got in here. Gage Larvadain. He had a great camp, but I think most teams passed on him because of his size. Isaiah Bond had the legal issues. Aiden Huntington, same thing. Height. Mascarenas Arnold, same thing. He's 6 foot tall, a little short for a linebacker. I guess it's just the needle in a haystack. You figure that 1 or 2 of these guys is going to work out, but we're bringing a lot of them. right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and that's on the 53. That's not we're not even talking about the practice squad yet.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
Do you guys think there may be some element where Barry or maybe the team at large is looking for guys this year, especially with Watson's contract, we're finally getting first rounders. Charlie Hewlett was a victim of that money cut. I know he was, unfortunately. But do you guys
Yep.
think they're looking for something in the mentality of these guys who are like hungry for more? They got passed over. Hey, let's go play this team, play our hearts out. Do you think there's some kind of element to that they're trying to build that kind of spirit to core? Like, hey, I'm a Cleveland
Hope so.
Brown. Let's build that.
Yeah, I hope so.
That could be. I mean, they've tried various various approaches with draft picks and with guys they brought in. They've tried to bring in the smart guys, the young guys, the spark guys, all different types of guys. And
Yeah.
I guess when things aren't working exactly the way you want, you got to change your approach a little bit. But yeah,
Right.
I don't have any problem with bringing in guys who look like good players, who just don't quite fit the mold. I mean, because these guys played pretty well, but again, it's preseason, so we'll see how they do. But I think Jeff's right on the money of this season. If a few of these guys really pan out and do well and end up being Browns for 3, 4, 5 years, then they've done great by finding
Sure.
these guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's just. I think we're kind of already hitting on it, but just the composition of the 53 guys, and it's about youth and I guess inexperience at this point.
Right.
Is that really what you guys expected? I know we expect Andrew Berry to keep all of his draft picks every year. And we knew that some of the UDFAs were going to make the team, but did you guys see the team being this young?
I mean, it's kind of a tough position. I think this goes to the function. Also, again, back to Watson contract. The Browns are strapped for cash. The best options out there are the cheap options, and they're trying to find those gems. And that's going to lead to guys who are, having those records. They're UDFAs. They're prospects who are not the top, maybe top tier, maybe, third round, whatever it happens to be. I mean, we're still in the midst of a rebuild. Flacco's good for maybe 3 more years if we're lucky. If he works out this year, presumably. Like we're still trying to find that next quarterback, right? Like, unfortunately, but
Joe's 40, right?
Yeah.
Joe's 40 years old, right?
I know.
When you started out saying 3 more, I thought you meant games, and then you said years. I'm like, what?
Who knows? Who knows what he has in mind? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, look at Ben. When Ben was Roethlisberger's end of his career, he's like a stiff old man stuck in the pocket trying to throw. He's handling it. I mean, Flacco, we know he's short term. No matter what we do, there's a timer. It's getting louder in his ear every day going, hey, dude, time to retire. I guess our best hope is he understands the offense. He understands what Stefanski did in 23. He would have understood last year. I think they're hoping that he rubs off on, Gabriel Shadur, and even Bailey Zappi just signed today too on the practice squad. I think they're hoping that his magic kind of rubs off on them so they can kind of really understand. But right now we have to shop in the bargain basement because of Watson still, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's way out of character how this organization has operated to this point under this regime. Right. I think Andrew Berry inherited a somewhat mature roster, and he's sort of reshaped it each offseason with some free agents, not necessarily top line free agents, but kind of middle of the road to bargain free agents, and then supplemented
Yeah.
the talent levels with his draft picks. Aside from Watson, where he went out and really sort of bet the farm on one free agent. So for him to really play very lightly in the free agent market this year and commit this hard to, let's call them cheap players. I mean, they are cost controlled players, right? So yeah, that's not in their character. That's a function of where the organization sits right now, and the fact that we're eating an awful lot of dead cap with a quarterback who's not going to play for us again, more than likely. So
let's hope.
It's kind of, well, yeah.
No matter how many videos they try to cram down our throat and promises of how hard that particular player is working,
we haven't closed the door.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I'll just say that yes, nobody wants to see him on the field. The only time I think that we may have to suffer through that is if we're at the end of the season and we're hopelessly out of contention and our other quarterbacks are hurt, and all the Browns would be trying to do at that point would be to
lose,
reestablish, besides losing, they would be trying to reestablish some minimum value for him so that they could at least recoup something from moving on from him. And if if he went out and played well in a game or two at the end of the season, and the Browns could do something as a result of that, I would suffer through it. But I'm really not looking forward to seeing him at all, any more than I'm looking forward to seeing Bailey Zappi. So let's hope these first three stay healthy.
I'm really hoping that Bailey Zappi was brought in more as a mentor, kind of carry the clipboard, kind of.
I just think he's a guy to run the scout team. Run the scout team in practice. That way you're not having your rookies do that. Your rookies have the opportunity to just sort of sit back and observe and learn from guys who have played in the league on both sides. So. It makes sense to have a practice squad quarterback to me with two rookies on the roster. We still have to see how those two guys shake out, but I don't expect either one of them to play much in the first few weeks, barring an injury to Flacco. So let's just give them some time. We saw in the preseason, we saw the best and the worst of Shedeur. We saw kind of the middle of the roadness of Dillon Gabriel for the most part. Those two guys, we pretty much know what their plus and minuses are right now, but we don't know what their learning curve looks like. So I think the Browns are doing right by them to give them some runway to figure that out.
Yeah, I think we saw that both guys have some upside, and I think the Browns want to see more of what that is. And I wrote a little article about before the cut downs, just about the trade of Kenny Pickett and kind of what that meant, and just the fact that kind of changed the perspective. And this kind of really goes back to Jeff's thoughts and ideas on carrying the four quarterbacks. The fact that you really didn't want the two rookies to be, one injury, whatever, away from being in there in game one, game two. Well, trading Kenny Pickett puts you back into that spot, but it also commits you to a youth movement. It really does.
Right.
It says that you're going to play these young guys. So at that point, it kind of told me that they're going to go young with this roster. They're more. It's not that they don't want to win, but they're always going to try to win games. But they want to see what they have in the young guys, the quarterbacks especially. But at that point, you might as well carry, you know, not only your roster, not only your draft picks, but your UDFA's and other young guys versus older guys who aren't going to be here in a couple of years. It just all made sense. But that kind of got me thinking about not just me. They're talking about on the radio and every place else. What is the meaning of this season? Okay, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get back and talk about that here on the Browns Blitz. And we're back with more of the Browns Blitz here on the Fanatical Elves Network. Make sure you guys are following us and subscribing here on YouTube and on iTunes. We appreciate you checking us out and supporting us. Guys, your thoughts on the meaning of this season. Not just maybe meaning is not the right word, maybe goal. And that's what I put in my article is the goal of this season. What do you guys think the goal is of this season? So, Redleg, why don't you go first on this?
Oh man, what a tough question. I think we were a better team last year than what our record showed. Maybe not much better, but definitely better than what happened. With Barry getting Miles some help on the line, I think we're seeing the defense being built. And what's more is that defense is really functioning and playing as a unit. Both the starters and that the secondary guys were playing like Saturday. There was a bunch of fire, a bunch of happiness, a bunch of joy, a bunch of like team on that side of the ball that's being built, and it's just like crazy to see that. As far as quarterbacks go, and the offensive side of things, I think we're going to have a season where we get what the fans wanted, because once Haslam was like, "Hey, we messed it straight up. It's bad. Let's give them what they want." We're getting Joe Flacco back. But what that means, I think, like you said, we're going to get a whole bunch of rookies, a bunch of young guys, a full season of 17 games plus a preseason, hopefully the postseason, But right, but is it a season I expect a lot out of? I don't know. We're still in transition. We're going back to I assume the 23 offense, the 23 way things were going, where Watson was out and Stefanski can do what he wants. But I don't think it's a season that the Browns are necessarily geared up to make a run to the Super Bowl. It's just the reality. I think we had a holding pattern. I think we got a bunch of young guys. Next year, I assume they'll try to go for maybe a quarterback or something. Or maybe Gabriel or Sanders work out. I think unfortunately, it's a season that's not going to be something that we're geared up to go deep in the playoffs. And I think it's get us through, get experience, build up for next year. I hate to say it like right now, but that's what I think.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite pieces of advice that I've ever received in my life was if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. I think that's kind of what this season is about. Is this team has really never had a strong identity. This organization lacks an identity. It lacks a purpose. Just sort of existing from year to year and keeping the fan base happy is really not the way to build a championship organization. So I think what this year is about is we need to find that identity. I think it's built around a destructive defensive line that's going to wreak havoc on other teams' offenses, that will create opportunities for your offense in short field situations, hopefully, and which is what we saw in the preseason. Beyond that, I think our offense needs to develop some sort of identity beyond a plug and play quarterback operation. We need to find that quarterback and that style that we can really hitch our wagon to on offense. We need to find skill position players. beyond the couple that we have right now, David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy. We need to find a few more skill position players that will really give us an identity on offense. Like you said earlier, Redleg, if we go back to what we did well a few years ago, running the football, and can be that efficient offense that we saw at times in the preseason. That's going to be enough for this year, but hopefully it gets us partway down the road to more of an answer in future seasons. And whether that's with one of the quarterbacks that's on the roster now, or a quarterback that we take next year in the draft, or someone else, the offense then will be the kind of environment that guy can be successful in.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I think that goal number one. I mean, obviously, this team, these players are going to be trying to win games. Okay, that's always the goal of the organization. But the realistic goal, I mean, this team won 3 games last year. They're very young. I mean, does this team actually believe that they're going for a Super Bowl this year? And I mean, I hope they're that optimistic, but maybe not. So, anyways, you know, I think what they're trying to do is what you're talking about, Jeff. Find some pieces, especially on offense. But I think it's a lot about the quarterback. They had this problem of not having the guy at quarterback for ever. Okay.
Yeah.
In this iteration of this team. Okay. Now that's not taking anything away from Tim Couch or Baker. We've had guys who have flashed here, but a guy to come in and play quarterback and be the guy for 5 or 10 years here is what this organization desperately needs. Because if you have that, you have a chance to be a good team that plays well and is significant every season. Okay, because you can build around a guy like that. It's really hard to build around 5 quarterbacks a year playing, you know, and pulling guys off the scrap heap and bringing back Bailey Zappi and things like this. Okay, and no offense to Bailey Zappi, I'm sure he's a great guy, but they want to see what they have in Sanders, you know, and Gabriel this year. Is that going to be enough for him to make a decision on those guys? Maybe not, but man, what if it is? What if they saw enough in one of these guys this year that they said, you know what? We don't need to draft a quarterback in 26. We're good. We have the guy we want now. Yeah. I mean, that would just be huge for him. Yeah, it'd be wonderful. And if not, if they see enough to know that, hey, these guys are both pretty good, we want them around next year. But if we have an opportunity to take the guy next year, then, you know, and then we'll roll with those 3 guys next year. And that wouldn't be a horrible thing either, I don't think. But I feel like they're in a spot to go all in now on solving this quarterback thing versus, man, they have thrown everything at this over the years. They have tried everything. Yeah. Now I feel like they got 2 guys in the house who could potentially, you know, if not be a franchise guy, could maybe be a stable guy who could play quarterback and keep him out of trouble and maybe win some games for him, maybe develop into a guy. And if not, they've got 2 picks next year. I just feel like they're in a good spot to be able to resolve that. And I feel like that is probably the main goal of this franchise over the next, what should we call it, through next April, 8 months or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
I mean, the biggest boon to the Browns over the last 5 years has been stability. You've got a front office that's stable. You got a head coach that's stable. You got a head coach who won Coach of the Year twice. You've got that system in place. And then we had Baker in 20. 19 was kind of fluke, where they're working with being there. He was doing it in 21 until injured. And then we get the Watson detail where Baker's coming back the next year. where that throws the system out of kilter completely. They change the offense. They change what the system's going to be. And it's like, and we suffer. So we have a good system in place. It's working. Maybe Baker's still not the guy. Maybe still hasn't mature. But that system and the style of offense that Stefanski was running was working. Flacco comes in late 23, plays Kevin's system because Watson's out, thrives in the system, does amazingly well. Yes, there's interceptions. Yes, there's issues, of course. But, we're going to see this year if it works out because 5 games versus the whole offseason is a massive difference for a quarterback in that system. So if they can stay stable and keep leadership there, keep ownership out of the box as much as possible, I think we're going to have a successful team. If it takes us a year to have a team that's the Cleveland Browns, then so be it. If we get the Cleveland Browns next year, hey, this year built that. And if this team is some amazing fluke and we have a dynasty after this, then we owe everything to them. We'll have to see. We don't know yet. So,
yeah. I think there's much to gain through all that, Redleg. And I think that this season can be a lot of fun, too, with Flacco. Sure. And watching the rookies might be fun. I mean, it might be hard at times when they're playing, but just seeing them progress, hopefully, that could be fun. I think the defense is going to be fun to watch. If everybody can just, I know people can't do this because we're Browns fans, but if everybody can just kind of try to enjoy the progression of some of these kids this year and know that, and know or feel like the organization is going somewhere with some of these young guys, because I feel, if we can see steps being taken, I think hopefully people will appreciate that, even if it doesn't add up to 9 or 10 wins and a playoff berth this year. I understand people are going to be upset if this team wins 3 games again. It's just going to happen. If they win 5, 6, 7 games, and it's a lot of fun to watch, then I'm going to be good with that, just because I know how young the team is. So, guys, let's hit a few comments here real quick, because I'm terrible at finding the comments in the chat here. I think I'm looking at all of them. Jeremy I think that's cheers from Jeremy, 2 beers. Jay, number 1 podcast on the network. We appreciate you, Jay. And Jeremy, great all around network. My favorite though, is this one. Anyone talk Chubb or Mason Graham yet? That's Jeremy, Jeff.
Oh man,
not yet. Hard. Yeah. Of course we got it. We got to talk long snapper with Redleg. He's right. You're a Charlie Hughley guy. So where do you stand on long snapper?
Yeah. So like I said, I know Hewlett. It's not performance based. It's that he had an injury last year. Sunahara came in. The Browns are money hungry. Sunahara is cheap. No, he's doing his job well, but he's cheaper than Hewlett. It was an obvious cut. I hate it. Hewlett's one of those behind the scene guys that really, when you look at who he talks to and how he interacts with people either on the field or in social media stuff, that he was a core component of the team. He's the second longest tenured Brown after Bitonio. So I mean, he was a core of the team. That being said, again, Sunahara's doing good. I think he'll be fine.
Cleveland guy.
Yeah. So he's been doing good. He did good last year. We're doing good this year. Watching preseason, he's not as intense as Hewlett was. He still has that work ethic, but he's not as intense. Seems to be accurate. But yeah, I mean, I understand why the Browns had to, but it still sucks. So
yeah, understand.
So who will be your favorite Brown this year, Redleg?
Well, yeah, I mean, Chubb's gone. Hewlett's gone.
Yeah. It's getting down there.
Well, I mean, I already got the jersey for the kicker, so I mean, I really don't know, man. And Joku's always a personality. I like him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I got to watch a little closer. See, Flacco, I like Flacco's personality, the way him and Njoku can interact. But there's a lot of guys on the team that are doing good. And I'm gonna try to watch for guys who are kind of like Hewlett, who are doing the work behind the scenes, kind of just keeping their game up, working it when no one's really paying attention. So as far as that goes, maybe we'll see. But yeah, right now,
Yeah.
undecided.
Okay, fair enough.
Jeremy's goal of the season progression, he says a 2-0 start. And I was chatting with him a little bit because the Browns play, they host the Bengals and then they go to the Ravens. And the Ravens in that game are having some celebration of whatever anniversary it is of the Ravens. And we don't need to talk about that, but he was just talking about how nice it would be to win that game. And it's kind of spoil that. So,
yeah.
Oh, and imagine Joe Flacco doing that.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun, guys. So I'm going to go to the mailbag. So because we've covered the long snapper, which was how the mailbag got started tonight with Jeremy. So Matthew Lubbock, follow him at Matthew Lubbock on X. He's got a great question, guys, and this is going to take us a little bit of time. So prediction time: who leads the Browns in passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and receiving touchdowns this year? So let's go passing touchdowns first.
Don't everyone speak at once.
Anybody?
I think that's probably the easy one.
Yeah.
It probably is. Do you guys think anybody other than Joe Flacco leads the team in passing touchdowns?
I don't see how.
No, unless some freak accident. And then it's going to be, if it's not Flacco, it's going to be Gabriel. He's the clear choice. And to me, this is going to sound a little crazy, but I feel like the way Gabriel plays is a very close look at the way Baker played. His demeanor, the way he runs around. He's kind of build, but I'd say Flacco for sure.
Yeah. How many starts do you expect him to have, assuming that, the Browns' record is what it is? They don't run off 5 straight wins or 6 straight losses. How many games would you expect him to start, Redleg, before they say, it's time we get the rookies in to get a look at them?
I'd say if Flacco's got an even record all the way up, win 1, lose 1, lose 2, win 2, I think the Browns stick with him. I don't personally see a scenario where they're going to go with the rookies this year. I mean, maybe the last, unless we're clearly out, we got 3 games left, 4 games left, which that'd be a complete disaster. Maybe that scenario. I'd say Flacco the vast majority, regardless.
Okay. So you're expecting him to start 10, 12, 15 games, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think he's just the presumptive starter for a few weeks. They're going to switch over to Gabriel or Shadur. I think he's the starter. I think they want the rookies to learn from him because he knows the system so well. And he can talk to them on the side. I'm like, hey, this is what I saw, how this out went, and those kind of things.
Yeah. So Jeff, you agree it's going to be Flacco?
Yeah, I think I'm on record from a few weeks back that I think four quarterbacks will play for the Browns this year, probably start, but and that includes Watson at the end. So yeah, it's going to go Flacco until things go off the rails, or he gets hurt. Then Gabriel's going to be forced into action, and I think that'll be okay for a while, but we're going to see his limitations pretty quickly. And then at some point, Shadur is going to be ready, and they're going to say, okay, we're going to give him a shot, and we're going to see his limitations. So I'm not sure we learn a whole lot about the quarterback this year, because I don't think any of these guys are really have enough upside to clearly win the job going into next season. And that would for me that would be a best case scenario, but I'm not sure that it's all that likely. So yeah, hopefully Flacco stays healthy and is like Redleg said, productive enough and not self-destructive enough that we can get through the majority of the season with him. And that helps us put that foundation in place of a, at least a decent offense, a functioning offense, that a rookie could be successful in.
Yeah. So going away from the question, just briefly here, what do you guys think the Browns think the plan is right now for the quarterbacks? Do you think that they believe they can get a read on these rookies now, or do you think that they're already thinking that these guys will probably carry over into next season and that they'll probably draft another QB and go with those three guys?
I would not be surprised if that's the plan. Gabriel, not a superstar, not like a guy who's been clearly like, oh my God, we want this guy. Sanders, I think they took a fly. I think Haslam was like, hey, take Sanders. He's dropped 5 rounds. We're saving money. A lot of publicity for us. We're going to sell a ton of jerseys because we're building a new stadium. Like, I mean, it sounds crazy to say it, but like
somebody's making some money. Yeah,
they're making money, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think that they're going to be the future. I don't, unless some kind of crazy star-studded thing happens. They have a breakout season. Maybe they have a duo where they're both amazing, but I don't see them as the future. Unfortunately. So
yeah. Well, look, we know the importance of the quarterback position, Rod. You stated it in your article. If the Browns saw a quarterback in the 25 draft that they thought could be the answer, they would have taken him at the top of the draft. They had the capital, and they have the need, so they obviously would have taken that quarterback at the top of the draft. The fact that they waited until the 3rd round to take Dylan Gabriel and even later to take Shedeur tells you what they thought the upside was of those guys. And I think they would be very happy this year if they found a long-term backup that they could cost control and could rely on to be around for quite a while. I don't think the Browns organization sees either one of these guys as the savior of the franchise. If you ask me personally, Shedeur probably has a slightly better chance of being that guy, just because of the boom bust nature of the NFL. But I don't think that guy was in this draft. So what we have to keep in mind is that there's a possibility next year, but franchise quarterbacks also come from a number of different places. They can come through free agency. There's a whole different ways, or a whole bunch of different ways that you can end up getting at least a competitive quarterback in the NFL. Baker washed here, but he ended up in Tampa, found the right situation, and now he's a middle of the road quarterback. Good for him. That kind of a scenario could play out for us as well. So I'm not putting all my eggs in the, draft the savior next year basket. That's one possibility.
Okay.
I think one thing real quick here. I don't mean to jump back in, but I think one big thing is that Sanders has a lot of untapped potential. I think it's there. It's not quite refined yet. And I think the Browns may see that. That may lead to, like you were saying there, Jeff, that it could, have him above Gabriel and just gaining even more. He's got potential. They just got to get it refined, get it melded, get it molded to what they want him to be, and then it'll be up to him to really click in and get it done. So,
right, yeah.
I
they obviously thought Kenny Pickett had potential as well. So, you just gotta let these guys evolve. You have to let them learn and progress, and hopefully they can show you show you their best self at some point.
Well, if Joe Flacco plays 2 more seasons after this, they're not going to have a room to draft a guy.
No, we have found our answer, Redleg.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys on Flacco. I think ideally, I think regardless of what way the Browns go, I'm sure they're hoping he's going to play at least 6 games, which gives him probably 12 touchdown passes, and that's going to probably be more than either of the rookies would put up. So, and Bailey Zappi too.
with the weapons that those rookies will have, I just think it's going to be really tough for those guys to against number one NFL defenses.
This team, other than Joe Flacco, this team does not throw for a lot of touchdown passes.
No.
Over the past 5 years, 5 seasons, they just have not thrown a lot of touchdown passes. So if Joe Flacco puts up 10 or 12 or 15 and what the games he plays, that's going to be more than anybody else does. So
yeah,
so I agree with you guys.
To tie in with that, Rod, going back to the third preseason game real quick, what we saw was the difference between the sense of urgency in preseason game 1 and the sense of urgency in the second half of preseason game 3 when guys are trying to make teams and keep a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
That difference is take that difference and multiply it times 10, and that's what the regular season becomes against other teams' best players. And you saw how effective a quarterback can be when there's not much urgency on the part of the Carolina Panthers versus, guys on the Rams who are trying to make the team, and they're all out, like their hair's on fire chasing Shedeur around. Okay, so that's not to make an excuse for Shedeur, but it's just, to me, it illustrates the difference between, what a player can do in a given environment. If we get into game 6 or 7 or 8 and we're 0 for the season so far, and we throw a rookie out there, it could get ugly real quick.
Yeah. So guys, let's move on to I guess we'll just go in the order that Matt had his question. So let's go rushing touchdowns, because this one's a little dicier.
Yeah.
You guys need a couple, a set of dice, maybe roll on
rushing
this one.
Touchdowns. Yeah,
rushing touchdowns. I mean, I don't know who led the Browns in rushing touchdowns last season. Was it
probably Ford, wasn't it?
I would say Ford.
I'm going to guess Ford.
Yeah.
But there probably wasn't a lot.
There weren't many. Yeah, because there weren't many attempts. It might have been Jameis Winston.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, this would be an easy one if Quinshon Judkins was on the team. But not knowing his status, and when, if we might even see him at all.
Right. Is he going to play? Is he going to play half the season or what? So yeah. He's a complete wild card.
I would have to say right now that Dylan Sampson is probably the leader in that category, just based on how they played him in the preseason. They seem to like him. I think Raheem Sanders can maybe steal some of that thunder if he gets a chance, because of his body type and his running type. He's a one-cut guy. He's not going to try to juke anybody. So from short yardage type of things, I mean, that's going to be his forte. So if the Browns find themselves in a lot of red zone rushing type of touchdown opportunities, Sanders can get them for you. So but man, this one's almost impossible to predict.
Yeah. Do you guys think they're going to try to build a situation like Hunt and Chubb? And at first, like when Hunt got traded or got signed by the Browns, before that, it seemed like Chubb would just run straight into a wall of people no matter what. It was weird. And then the next season, they developed it where he was moving and Hunt was there, kind of being that lead blocker. I'm seeing the preseason. You guys probably saw it too. The running game, the guys are running straight in a pile, and there's no movement. So maybe they're going to identify that early. But do you think they're moving towards that 1-2 combo that they had in Hunt and Chubb, or at least try to?
It could be a 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4 combo. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm old enough to remember Mack and Biner. Two different style running backs. And when we talked about rebuilding the running back room this offseason, I was a big proponent of taking two different kinds of running backs in the draft. And a guy who is that Nick Chubb or Kevin Mack type of guy that's going to run downhill and knock people over, and then a change of pace guy.
Mhm.
And I think that's what they ended up with.
Yeah.
But I will say that going into this draft, if you had told me that we would come out of the draft with Raheem Sanders and Dylan Sampson as our running backs of the future, I would have said, man, those two guys fit that profile perfect. And let's go. Let's just hand the ball to them and see what they can do. Okay. Because the way running back works in the NFL, that's what it takes. You don't necessarily need a great pedigree to be a successful running back in the NFL. You just need guys who can block ahead of you. So
Yeah.
If we end up with Raheem Sanders and Dylan Sampson getting 80% of the carries on first and second down, and Jerome Ford slots into our third down back like we really hope he can be and should be, that could be fun to watch. And maybe we just don't even worry about Quinshon Judkins.
It'll be a big boost whenever he joins the team. I think he's going to sign at some point. He's going to play for the Browns at some point. We just don't know if it'll be this season or not. So,
Right.
So yeah. So I have a hard time picking Judkins to be the guy here, even though I want to, because it would make things a lot easier if we had him, playing running back. But I mean, I like these other three guys. I think there's a lot there. Different styles. All three of them have different styles and can do different things. If I was picking one guy, and I mean, I think I would still go with Jerome Ford just because I think chances are, just based on what I saw in the preseason, I think with them kind of holding him out, I think they still kind of see him as the top dog right now with Judkins not there. But man, if they do run the ball a lot, this could be a team where you've got 3 or 4 running backs who have 2, 3, 4 touchdowns each. It wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, let's talk about the receiving touchdowns. That sounds like an easy question, but maybe not. I mean, Jerry Jeudy's the top receiver on this team, but how many touchdowns did he have last year? Like 4 or 5? Not many. He's not a big touchdown guy. Big touchdown guy. So
it's not a big X receiver touchdown offense.
Yeah.
Your red zone plays are going to be to the tight end.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who are you saying, Jeff? Are you saying David Njoku?
I think Njoku's probably the logical choice. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, with that Flacco and Njoku, I still have the picture in my head of those two guys sitting there kicking their legs up. Did you guys both see that video? Yeah. They look like they're 10 years old, just sitting in a school playground, just acting like 10-year-olds. Man, it's pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
You want football to be fun, and the rules are stripping a lot of that away. Guys can't celebrate anything anymore. And I know some of the celebrations got out of hand, but man, the flagging some of these celebrations, it just messes up the game and stuff. So seeing the guys actually have fun like those guys were having is such a positive. But you guys have sold me on Njoku. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being somebody else, but Njoku's got to be the front runner. So So Jeremy's picks were Flacco, Jeudy, and Ford. So
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, 2 out of 3 is not bad. But I mean, who knows? I mean, Jeudy could end up doing okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do okay. I mean, I think Flacco, his chemistry and Njoku's chemistry is like really good. It's really building. I mean, Flacco, like being close to, like, we sat pretty close to the field this time when they're Saturday, and Flacco is like very tall, clearly, right? Chief's very tall. Yeah, I think if they're gonna make that happen, where all the super tall guys are able to put their 4-foot long arms up in the air, and make it happen, I mean, it could be a magic. And Sheep and him have such a good chemistry. If you got other tight ends in there doing that stuff, man, I think you're seeing a lot of tight end touchdowns, regardless of who's in. It could be some little strange change up there.
I think so. I mean, yeah, we saw a nice touchdown to Harold Fannin. I'm not going to pick him to lead the Browns in touchdowns this season, but yeah, that was promising as far as what we might see out of him this year too. So I know Joe Flacco's got to be pretty happy having these two guys at tight end. So okay, excellent question, Matt. So we'll move on to Sats. You follow him at Browns Fever 1. His question is, should we have the faith in our defense that we do? So first of all, do you guys both have a lot of faith in this defense going into the season? Redleg?
Yeah. While we're watching this, we know it's preseason, right? The defense is clicking, and it's not disorganized. It's not like a bunch of preseason stuff. They just, to me, throughout the games, they seem to be really clicking. They seem to be actually doing a lot of work. They had like 9 sacks over the first 2 games, or all over the preseason. Which it's preseason sacks. I get it, but they seem to be really functioning as a unit. They're building a lot of core camaraderie. There's something there that is similar to the last time they're real good. Last year was a mess, but 23, whatever that magic sauce is, they've got it back this year, and you're seeing it even the preseason. Hopefully, it translates. It must be coming from the first line players too, starters, to have that room kind of go over the preseason guys and the guys that are not going to be there. But I have confidence it'll be good, especially with Mason Graham kind of coming in and really being opposite Myles Garrett, man. Like I think Jock, JOK, clearly a loss. Hopefully he gets back into it, but man, there's something there. There's something special brewing. So
yeah, I agree. Jeff?
Yeah, and I just remind you that we haven't even seen Myles Garrett yet, so we don't know what the defense will look like with him on the field. I have a lot of confidence in the front 7, Rod. I think I'm really a lot happier and more comfortable with the linebacking crew than I expected to be at this point. Schlesinger, there's a reason he was recognized as the outstanding rookie in camp. He's going to exceed everybody's expectations. All of us who said who when he was drafted, we're going to find out because he's him. Where I'm a little more concerned is when you get into the secondary. That's going to be our Achilles heel. And just going back a couple of seasons when the Browns started out, they were dominant early in the year. And then teams started to throw different things at them. And this game is about adjustments. So it'll come down to how well the secondary can keep us out of trouble while we're making those adjustments on the fly. There's players back there. It's just there's a lot of question marks too.
What do you guys think about Emerson's injury? I mean, that's a big blow. Like, do you guys think they're going to find someone to fill that role? Do you think it's going to be a tough fit? Like,
I'm a little concerned about who's going to play in the slot. Miles Harden, from what I'm hearing, is the leader right now. He's the guy that had the best training camp. They feel best about in the slot. But that's a glaring hole for us right now. Newsome didn't do a great job there the last couple of seasons. Hopefully he's better on the outside than he was in the slot. It was. We talked about this quite a bit, Rod, that it was shaping up to be a really big bounce back year for those two guys, Emerson and Newsome. Their walk years on their contracts. So big blow to MJ. Really, it's hard to see that happen to him. But yeah, it's created an awful lot of question marks for me in the secondary. Beyond 3 guys, I think. I'm not really sure what we're going to get back there.
Yeah, like Jeff said, we haven't even seen Myles Garrett and Mason Graham line up next to each other yet. And the rest of that defensive line has looked really good too. So I'm excited to see these guys. I think the defensive line, like Jeff said, going to the front seven. You can even call it the front 5 or 6 because Schlesinger is really the only guy you seem to need out there at linebacker because he kind of just makes all the plays.
Come on. Devin Bush had an outstanding game in week 3.
Oh, he did. He's looked good. He really has. Yeah.
And I mean, we've got guys hurt that haven't played yet, so forth. So
no, they have some players at linebacker. They really do.
I'm not as worried as I thought I would be.
Yeah, but I think that front 7 stands to be so dominant that it could potentially cover up, some deficiencies in that secondary. But to do that through a whole game is, it's going to be hard. So they'll have to be able to adjust, like you're saying, Jeff. So but I think it's definitely going to be fun to watch. And again, the defense and how good the defense is depends on the offense and, and how long the offense is on the field too. So it's not just how good the defense is, it's how many 3 and outs does the offense have? How many points does the offense go up is so that dictates the type of defense that can be played. So yeah, we'll see. But I think this defense could be really good, especially if they find, a couple guys that really step up in that secondary in the positions where the Browns need them to step up, in the slot and whatever happens with the, whether it's Ronnie Hickman or somebody else playing free safety or when they go to the packages where they got 3 safeties out there, they need, they're going to need those guys to step up. If that happens, yeah, this defense could be really incredible to watch. That does it for the mailbag, guys. And
right.
Satch and Matt, we appreciate you guys with your questions, and Jeremy. We've been going a while, guys. So I normally ask if we had anything else to talk about, but I think we'll move on to final thoughts. I know I'm tired. How about you guys?
It's almost Friday, baby.
Yeah, been a long week, but yeah, we're excited. We're excited. The season's just over a week away. So, Red Leg, it's been great talking to you. Great having you back on the pod. And what final thoughts do you have, or words of wisdom for anybody who happens to be checking us out?
Well, first off, thanks for having me back. It's been a long time, but we interact on Facebook, or not Facebook, but Twitter, X, whatever, all the time. So we're not been that out of contact. The biggest thing is, this season will probably be a unique one. It'll be interesting. You'll see players developing. You'll see Flacco hopefully balling out and having a great time while he does it, just enjoying his twilight of his career. I think he's very locked into just getting as much out as he can. I think he's got a lot left. This season could be magical, could be a building year, but stick with it and go Browns. That's the biggest point there. Go Browns.
Sounds good to me. Jeff, your closing thoughts tonight.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the practice squad. I don't think anybody cares. There's a couple of guys, though, that I'll mention that are reclamation projects that we didn't talk about. Cole Strange.
Yeah, we never got
lineman. There. Yeah, interior lineman from the Patriots that the Browns are going to try to resurrect. He was overdrafted, but good chance that they get his head screwed on right and he could help us down the line. And then the other guy's Malachi Corley from the Jets, wide receiver who has a ton of talent, has never really been able to channel it productively. Isaiah Bond, Corley, we've got guys in that room that are potential pluses if we could figure out how to get them to be productive. that kind of
Yeah.
seems, that feels to me like what we're looking for. You know, we're the skill guys to surface from these groups that we have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say with those two guys, there's a chance that we'll see some productivity from the rest of the guys on the practice squad. Pretty much who we expected to be there. You know, guys who had been in camp for the most part, and hopefully don't have to see much of them because
Some of
everybody
those
else
guys
stayed
can
healthy.
contribute, though. But yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll get contributions
bad.
from them, no question, because you have injuries throughout the year.
Mhm.
So, but all in all, I like the composition of the roster. I'm excited about the youth and the enthusiasm. Um, I can live with errors of commission, guys who are just trying their best and just make a mistake. That's fine. We can live with that this year. I've been really happy with how clean the preseason games have been. Penalties have been minimal. Um, all those things tell me that Kevin Stefanski has run the right kind of camp, and he's got guys ready to go out and play. That was
Yeah.
really obvious to me in the preseason games, is that our guys are ready to play. So let's get them tooled up. We'll do another show again before the Bengals game, so I won't talk about that. But
Yeah.
I feel a lot better about the first few weeks of the season now than I did a month ago.
Same here. Same here. Excellent stuff, guys. All right, this has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.